Yes, I'm Hillary Davies, and that's Dirk Terpstra. And we are Coherence Hotspot. We started doing these free Sunday Coherence webinars about 9 weeks ago. And we've had a really good response from all of you. We have many returning. We have some new ones. We'd like to welcome the new people that have joined our Coherence Hotspot community. We have quite a few new people who have reached out and started their own Coherence hotspots, and it's just really encouraging to see and totally juices us up and sparks our heart to see each of you doing that, rippling it out into the field with other people. So thank you and welcome.
Totally. And yeah, we see so many new people, and I also noticed that there's quite a few originally Spanish-speaking people. And maybe an interesting knowing for you is that we're developing a whole new translation of our website into Spanish. Yay! And but we're also working with videos, and we work with a team in Mexico, some really dear friends, and they are supporting us. So it's very exciting to also start offering it in the Spanish language.
Yes, and Vivian, who reached out. She started with our free Sunday webinars, and she's out there doing it. I think she's done 3 or 4 21 minutes of Coherence 21 days in a row, and she keeps getting asked to do another set, and so it's pretty exciting. So she is lovely, and she has lovely heart-centered beings around her, and together we are getting our translations and things set up. So,
well, since you mentioned her name, then we should mention Karen, because Karen is also working very closely with us, and also for social media in the near future in Spanish. So it's all really beautiful how things are unfolding. So welcome again to everybody who's new to us.
Yes, welcome.
Maybe it's time to, first of all, create some coherence in our system, and coherence to contribute to the world. And we usually do that. We start with just a short moment of getting into our breath. And if you just acknowledge where you're at the moment, whatever it is that you feel, and if you start breathing a little deeper and slower than you would normally do, that brings your system very quickly into coherence. And while you're breathing slower and deeper than you normally would do, maybe imagine that your heart has 2 lungs you're breathing through. And just feel that air flow through your chest. And while you're breathing and feeling the airflow, maybe you can just feel grateful for being all together here through this amazing technology from literally all around the world, where we have a very similar intention and deep wish for the planet to come together. And when we breathe and we feel that into our heart space, we're changing the field. That's science. It's no guessing. It's not new. So maybe you can feel that connection with one another when you breathe. What does it feel like in your body when you feel connected? If you slowly breathe through that, what does it feel like in your body to just be grateful? To be able to log on, to be able to breathe, to sit there, to participate. Maybe you can even be grateful in your heart while you breathe for the place we're at this moment on the planet. Because it's a unique time. And finally, we've pressed the reset button for the Earth. And we're contributing to the field in a very coherent way. We literally change the field. And the more we get out of our own way and just feel the breath flow, the more coherent we are. And before we start, maybe you can open your eyes and look at the screen and look at all those people. What you're actually doing is you look. If you have your camera on, or people have their camera on, you look in the eyes of a coherent person. And that's, of course, very beautiful. I know, we start giggling because it's silly, it sounds silly, but it's so beautiful. When we are coherent and we are a part of this field in such a natural flow, it just feels good. We don't need our brain to kick in, we just breathe. And we almost forget to think. What a freedom. Okay.
So our Sunday webinar is Genetic Coherence. So, you know, coherence webinars, we're going down to the micro today. So genetic coherence, and what does that even mean? And how does that affect us? And so that's what we're going to be doing today. It's actually really cool. We have some really fun slides to show you. And we'll be doing our breakout rooms as usual, so we can connect for like 10 minutes or so with each other.
Don't leave.
And then we come back together and we breathe some more, and then we have an announcement. And yeah, so that's how today's going to roll out. So I'm excited to share. We're excited to share this with you today. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, let's maybe get into the coherence of our genetics. And you might think, what would that mean? Well, I'll pull up a few slides. It's very brief, actually. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason, I love this one because this is us. If we are truly coherent, we beam, we're expressing ourselves at the most coherent and most beautiful and most intelligent and most loving way. So we thought we'd start with that one briefly, because you are and we are so much more than we have been told. Maybe by our parents, maybe by our teachers, maybe through our school system, maybe through the church, who knows? But the more we bring awareness and coherence into our system, the more we will change our system. And that's not just an esoteric message. Because if you have a closer look at our DNA, the double strand helix shape, why is it shaped that way? What do you think? It's very unique, actually, in the body. So we have about 50 trillion cells, and within each single cell, 50 trillion cells, imagine that, you're a miracle. And within each single cell lies this beautiful piece of DNA, our genetics. And the reason why we show it this way is that we are, of course, most of you know that, we are, of course, for 99.9999% energy. And we perceive most of it as matter. But that's okay. And here it looks like energy. The DNA is energy. And the interesting part with the DNA is that the way it's shaped, because it is listening to a very specific field that we'll show in a minute, the toroidal field. And it bends and it shapes itself in a certain way because it's fully embedded in that field. And that's just really hard to almost understand. And then you have scientists that says, yeah, but we have a lot of actually junk DNA. And the junk DNA, what the scientists call junk DNA, is actually our quantum DNA. You can't find it really in our body. It's the same if they would open you up. They can't find your consciousness. They can't find your thoughts in your brain. And so the junk DNA is, of course, not junk DNA, because if this magnificent creator creates everything, why would he or she or it create junk? Of course not. So that is listening to our awareness. And I was speaking about this toroidal field, and you might have seen this slide. It's designed by the Institute of Heart Math, who are actually big supporters of what we do and help us to further grow the message. You see this beautiful field. It's actually a double torus, one around the heart and one around the body. And just imagine, inside your body, your DNA is listening. And in and around each of the 50 trillion cells, you see the same toroidal field. It's beautiful. This is what it looks like. This is the way it moves. And when we breathe later on, or whenever you breathe in the future, maybe imagine your cells move like this. Bring your awareness into your body, and you change your genetic expression. Because the cells are listening to their environment. And if you create a very coherent environment inside your body, the cells receive the instruction and they express themselves accordingly. This is when our body becomes really coherent, but our DNA expresses itself in its highest form, in its most intelligent form. And especially what's going on right now on the planet, people are getting nervous and about illness and all that. But there's one thing that people forget, and you won't see that in science so much, is that you're literally upgrading your DNA as we go through this. And your body will be more resistant to so many things that it couldn't cope with in the past. Just remember that. You're upgrading your DNA as you listen, as you breathe, as you take it in, as you connect. This is why we like to have you here, because we change the field, as you know. We contribute to the field. So the biochemistry of our body is purely a product of our awareness. How beautiful, isn't it? So this is what we actually wanted to share. Do you want to get right into a video?
I think so. So the biochemistry of our body is a product of our awareness. Is our awareness, our thoughts, our physical, our environment, our inner environment, our mindset. So these are the things that direct our DNA. Dirk just showed us these beautiful slides. So this is how we become the director of our own DNA, is through our awareness. It's actually a biochemistry experiment going on every day in our body. And we know what we expect every day, most of us. And that's how we set ourselves up for patterns. Again, it brings us back to our mindset. So I think we'll just go ahead and show the video right now. It's only 3 minutes. We need to be able to see that.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And can you see it? Can you see it play now?
Maybe things will get better. Up. I know they
Let's
won't.
do it again.
I think outside it's getting wetter. How nice for ships that float. Stop doing that, it's annoying. Sometimes things are bad. Sometimes it's right to feel annoyed or angry, scared or sad. Okay, I see your point. All emotions have a different pace. But how good does it feel when the anger subsides and then laughter takes its place? Enough, I hate your mind games. Can you stop being Mr. Silver Lining? Since the year began, we're under house arrest, so excuse me for not smiling. I'm sorry I don't see the funny side and occasionally I cry. I'm sorry for not laughing when the ones I love might die. Look, you don't need to apologize. I don't mean to make you cross. I'm not suggesting we all start laughing when we mourn a loved one's loss. But tell me this, who would you rather see? Your friend who gets annoyed? Or the one who, despite life's difficulties, works hard to find the joy? Do you know how hard some people's life is? That's so easy for you to say. Why don't you spend a day in their shoes and then tell me if you feel that way? That's not a rational argument. We all have just our life to live, and no hand is dealt without its challenges, but for all the take, there is some give. You know, some people are dying and babies are born. Some people go hungry, less than ever before. There are serial killers. Yeah, we came up with laws, propaganda, deception, and those who fight for a cause. What about abuses of power and tyrannical leaders? But don't you think the world has far more nurses and teachers who are paid next to nothing? Which I agree is disgusting. Okay, so now who's pessimistic? No, I can be realistic. Okay, so what are you saying? The people who work for nothing are senseless? No, I'm saying potentially some people are selfless. Some people are addicts. Some people get clean. Sometimes we have nightmares. Yes, and sometimes we dream. Oh, enough! Stop it, you are doing my head in. Go live in your fairy tale, but good luck forgetting the homelessness, poverty, disease, starvation, mistreatment of children, hunger, temptation, abuse in all forms, misuse of creation, abuses of power, eternal damnation. I know. Don't you think I know? Okay, what do you want me to say? I don't celebrate people's suffering and say hip hip hooray. We could be so much better if only we could, amidst all the bad, start to work for the good. Obsessing on the evils won't help in any way. But if we strive for improvement, then the evils can fade. Pull together. Be loving. Be wiser. Be kind. Stop for a moment. Relax and unwind. And slowly, yes, slowly, you'll see as we work ever more that the suffering is just less than you remember before. Look, I'm not being naive to suggest that the future could be bright, but I'd rather be an optimist proved wrong than a pessimist proved right.
So, could you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, of course. I don't know what went wrong.
Yes, thank you.
But, good. Well, maybe take that message in. It's the way we talk to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. The way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk to our cells, right down to the DNA. And this is kind of mind-bending. So if someone would tell me that my thoughts were the reason that I had chronic pain or stress or disease years ago, I would have, not been very happy with them based on how I was raised, what I believe, what I've known, and the experiences that I have. But actually hearing and knowing that what's going on inside of me is affecting my DNA, as well as what's going on outside of me, is so powerful that there's a way that I can actually be in charge. I can be the director of my DNA. So going into the breakout room, we thought it would be really cool today to be able to, see if you can think up a way that you could change the message, change the sentence, the mantra, whatever it is in your mind, the recurring thought. Maybe they're all subconscious. We have up to 80,000 thoughts a day on average. And so many of those are subconscious, and those are also, our cells are listening to those. So if we can, with intention, come up with a way to send our cells, to send our DNA a new message, what would it be? What would that message be? Maybe it's one word, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a person, and then how? How will you remind yourself so that you don't get to the end of the day and be like, oh, I didn't have time for that. What kind of an intention and how could you remind yourself to do that? And maybe that sounds tricky, and maybe you get anxious inside thinking, oh my goodness, what am I gonna say in the share in the breakout room? And that's okay. If you're thinking of something and you wanna share it, please feel free to share it. It's so great to connect. It's the feedback we get. And if you're awkward or you don't really wanna share, maybe you can just say like where you're from, introduce yourself from across the globe, because that is pretty cool to be able to be here with all of you and see and talk to people from all corners of the earth. So again, we're just going to do a random breakout. It'll be probably about 10 minutes. So just a couple minutes to share if that's what you feel to do, an intentional way that you could change the message you're sending to your DNA, and how will you remind yourself? What could you be doing that could be the trigger to remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, have fun.
We have 5 people in each room, and if you feel comfortable enough, maybe while you talk or while you just maybe want to listen, maybe it's nice to turn on your camera. You don't have to, of course, but we're going to have 5 people in each room, probably 6 to 7. Well, it just depends a little bit on the number of people. Okay? And
okay, see you in there.
Let's go
Have fun.
there.
And then we're all coming back, so don't go away. After we share, we all come back together. Hi.
hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. How many we got in this room? 6, 5? 6, I guess. We're 2 and 1.
We just happened to join this room. There was not some kind of plan. This is what we usually do. We join one room, but again, it's not about us. Maybe you want to say your name, and maybe you want to say where you're from, and maybe, what was the message again?
The message is there a word, a phrase, a paragraph, a place, something that you could do to tell yourself a different message than you've been telling yourself, and how will you remind yourself to do it? So that's just any version. So whoever would like to kick it off, just raise your hand and go ahead.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Go ahead, Claude.
I am from Penticton. I've been trying really hard to stop saying I'm sorry. I try to find something else to say than I'm sorry all the time.
Yes, that's a good one, Claude. I had a friend years ago who was practicing that, and it's a go-to, isn't it? Yes.
Very easy to go to.
Yeah.
Thanks
for sharing that.
Yeah.
Can I start? Did I just start? Hi, my name is Kate. I live in Vermont, and I've suffered with chronic pain for many years, constantly, and then sometimes not so regularly, trying to practice things to help myself. And recently, with the quarantine, it's been very interesting. I'm home alone with 2 dogs, and we're both keeping each other sane and ticking each other off. So what I've been working with is I get mad at the dogs when they pull on me and it hurts. So I'm trying to heal the pain and not be negative towards my sweet animals. And that's about where I am right now.
That's perfect. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's
You're
of course a challenge, and the more mindful we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just gets away with us, doesn't it? It just gets away.
Yeah.
You realize it's happening, and then all of a sudden the reaction happens before we catch it. And so just to be aware of it is the first step. That's fantastic. Both of you, that's fantastic. Is anybody else like to share?
Are you raising your hand, Kathy?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Lately I've been doing mantras, and mantras for all kinds of healings, both for self and for the world. And after you do it for a while, they start living inside your mind, and I will wake up sometimes and the mantra is still going through my mind. So that's been a wonderful addition for me, and it's easy. And it works.
And it works, of course it works. You're,
awesome.
You're talking to your DNA. Beautiful.
Was that something new for you?
Fairly recently, yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anybody else? Yeah. Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Hi.
Hi, you're in Kelowna, I think, aren't you?
Lake Country.
Lake Country, yes.
Yeah. Hi, guys. What I've been doing lately, and it's starting with when I'm just waking up, is I just say to myself, there's ease in my body. Instead of the tension that I can feel, I'm just saying there's ease in my body, and trying to remember that throughout the day.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's a quote that we use a lot, actually. Ease. The word ease is a good go-to. Yes. Yes, better than I'm sorry, hey? Yeah.
Well, it's good that you say that, better than I'm sorry, but because we often start beating ourselves up on things that we are not so happy with what we do. And then we become our worst critic. Or, you know, when the dogs pull too hard and we feel the pain in our body, and then we actually regret that we're not so kind to our sweet animals. These are the things that we hopefully in the self-talk can also be a little kinder. Because I know for sure, looking at all you and listening to you, is that you really do your best. And so acknowledge that, because we do our best, right?
Yes, I see one more Hollywood Square up there. Hi.
Oh, you have to unmute yourself. Is it Matthias?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, hi. It's Matthias. I'm from near Vienna in Austria. And what I have been doing for like half a year now is that I really am conscious about when I start judging someone, and then think why I am judging and what I'm judging, because I'm not, mostly it's just like behaviors that mirror myself, and so that helps me to get more at peace with myself and to well, actually be more nice to myself.
And that's beautiful, by the way, and thank you for joining. How does it work for you? Does it go, is that easier? Is it hard to do?
It gets easier all the time. In the beginning, I really had to concentrate to be doing that, but now it actually comes natural. And there's always second thoughts following the first thought, and that what I experienced, it's not only when it comes to judging, but to everything else. There's just more depth to the whole process.
Yeah, that's amazing, actually. And when it gets easier, right? Like everyone talks about that. Once you start, it's like a muscle. The more you practice it, the easier it is to do. And becoming aware, a judgment is a huge one. And it goes back to what Dirk was just talking about, judging ourselves too. It's like that back and forth. Where's it coming from? So it's constant introspection, isn't it? When we actually have that intention to maybe remove judgment from experiencing other people's.
Well, both Hilary and I, we work with people with trauma, and often severe trauma, PTSD, and it might sound beautiful, you know, to start having a different message to yourself, and it's needed, of course, because this is how we change, this is how we evolve. We saw that on the slides, but there's a but. However, is that the body actually initially doesn't like that change at all, because the body doesn't like change.
Yeah, but that's the same like when you start with workout. In the beginning, it's just like you have to kick yourself in the butt to get going, and then after some time, it's just like the body craves it even, and you need it like anything else.
Yes, it is like anything else, and it's just good to acknowledge that part, that if we start changing something, so this is maybe the message that we can close with, is that if we start changing something, we start changing the narrative, that the body initially might think, I don't like this. And then you might go back to the old self. This is why change is so hard. But if you understand that it's a process, and for what personally for me works really well, if I find it sometimes hard to come up with a certain change or that's very positive, I have, like yourself, which you were sharing, a mantra, but the mantra is very simple. I keep repeating for a minute or 2 minutes. I keep repeating, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And at some point, the mind probably thinks, what the heck is he talking about? Thank you. And then the mind starts actually looking for things that I'm grateful for. And it's so cool how the body works. So it's really nice that you all shared, participated. And
did you have something that you wanted to add in?
Yes, I did. It's from a Rumi poem, The Guest House, which is when my feelings are coming and I'm passionate about something that, it's like I just said, okay, come on in, let's have some tea. I just made some cookies. We can have that too. And welcoming them, and it makes a huge difference. It's really wonderful. It's like you're not fighting yourself the way, or judging yourself the way we've been so trained to do.
Yes, it's perfect, actually.
Thank you for adding that. Yes, it's beautiful. I love that poem, by the way. Yes, Mary?
Yeah.
I was wondering if Matthias' son, is that say okay, cool on your shirt?
It does. It does.
Eye for detail. Perfect.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to head back into the main room now. And hopefully everybody in the other rooms have had a chance to share. We've got quite a few people on the call today.
Let's see.
We're going to return.
Those are rooms. So we'll see in a little bit in the large.
Welcome back. It'll take a few minutes before we all start coming in together again. Slowly but surely, those breakout rooms come back to the reception area or the green room or whatever you want to call it, where we are, the Zoom room, of the coherence room. Let's call it that. The coherence room. Maybe as we're coming back in, we can even go to our breath and see what that felt like to share and what we heard. And the room that we were in, there was some amazing shares and comments and insights. And so, yeah, maybe you can pop that into chat if you got a little nugget, a gold nugget out of there, what it was or what it felt like to share.
Yeah, most people are coming now on board as we speak. So that's really wonderful that everybody's coming back. Welcome back. Just from the breakout room. We just joined one of the breakout rooms, and it was actually really beautiful to hear all the sharing.
Mm-hmm. So we're just interested now to go back over what we presented to you this morning. So just a few quick slides on the DNA, the strand, what it looked like, how we're actually sending messages to our DNA on a regular basis, 24/7, what that feels like in our systems over time based on who we are and what we've lived through and how we can actually change that. And so one of the things that we practice all the time consistently, both in clinic and out of clinic, and this is why we've developed Coherence Hotspot, is through coherence. So when you take a break and you go to your breath and you come into your heart, like we're going to do again right now, your body synchronizes, it gets into flow. There's a physiological shift happening in your system when with intention, you slow your breath down and you come into your heart. Just acknowledging where you're at and a little slower and a little deeper. There's so many ways of breathing out there. If you can just become aware of your breath. Slowly in and slowly out. And maybe what are you thinking right now? What's in your head? Are you thinking about something other than what's happening right now? Just come back into your breath. And then maybe visualize those slides Dirk was sharing earlier. That torus, that beautiful field that's in every single one of your cells in your body. And the beauty that you're sending your system right now. Even in 1 or 2 minutes, you're breaking that loop of anxiety or stress. It's beautiful. And when we all do it together and we come together in this beautiful, coherent way, first of all, we take it into ourselves and then we ripple it out. We ripple it out into the world, into the field. Such a beautiful thing to be able to come together and see so many familiar faces and so many new faces and share and learn just a little bit each Sunday about how everything is connected, how our thoughts are connected to our bodies, how our bodies are connected and in the field, how the field is all around us. And we do a beautiful job, even through Zoom. It's beautiful to be together.
Well, maybe you want to briefly mention the something new that we have developed.
Oh, yes. So a few weeks back, we put it out there that we could do a mini online Mind Your Worldview program. And we did that. We did the first one and we sold out right away. And so we're keeping the group small so that it's interactive. And we're doing the second one. And that one is the field. It's about the field. It's basically discovering you in the field. And so the first Sunday is, what is the first Sunday? June 7th?
No, May 31st.
May 31st?
Yep.
That's next Sunday?
No.
That's the following Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 weeks today, it'll start. And so part one on the Sunday is the field from micro to macro. Basically, we're talking about how every atom, cell, animal, human, the planet, even the galaxy, all has something in common, and that's the toroidal field. And so it's really taking a deep dive into that and looking at the Earth's rhythms as well and how we're connected. And then week 2, we get into self-regulation. And this is what we talk about when we talk about coherence. And this is what we teach in clinic. And it's a really beautiful look into the biofeedback. Now, you don't have to have the biofeedback, but we show you exactly what's happening in real time, what actually happens with the pattern that your heart beats. We explain heart rate variability and how that is actually attached to our coherence and how that is attached to our overall health. And then how we can change that and how we can grow our baseline, because it's not static. We know now we can change it. So that's week 2. So we have a really in-depth look at the coherence, our HRV, and how that actually affects not only us, but again, how that ripples out into the world. So it's a really nice next step. Even if you weren't in the first mini program, it's a great introduction actually to the field and how you are the field and where you are in the field, and then self-regulation, how to actually change your field.
Yeah, we're excited about it. So May 31st and a Sunday after this webinar, and on June the 7th. And it's for a limited number of people because we want to keep the group small, as Hilary said. And we'll just drop in the link. So if you want to have a look, you can, it's maxed out. So just the first, I think 20 or 30 who are signing up will have access to it. And we keep doing this at some point because we developed this beautiful program, Mind Your Worldview. And this is where it couldn't be a better timing, you know, what we're in right now. And the more we understand, it's the same with maybe the next time you breathe, what Hilary said, maybe you visualize those cells. Maybe you visualize this beautiful toroidal field. Maybe you visualize seeing yourself flying through the air, you know, from you're expanding through your own genetic expression. And this is just science. This is empirical science. So yes. Well, anything else that we want to add?
Well, just a big, gigantic thank you to all of you for showing up. If it was your first time, if it was your 9th time, we always love to see your faces. And it's a really nice opportunity at the end to see everybody's face and say goodbye. And we do that, but we also have another really little short video that will be after that. So we can all say goodbye, and if you Dirk can unmute you all. And then if you want to stick around for just a closing video, it's just very beautiful and one of our favorites.
Yeah, and by the way, we see so many wonderful chats coming in, and please know is that we will read all the chats, you know, after the because we cannot respond to it right now. So we do read your chats, and if there is something, we will get back to you if we have your connection.
Somebody did say thank you very much, especially the breakout rooms. Have a blessed week. And I love that because it was really awkward for a lot of people at first. And so thank you so much for sharing and connecting with each other. That's why we're here every Sunday, so that you can do that. You have this opportunity to have a pause in your Sunday and a chance to connect from the heart.
Yeah, and for those who are new or you want to learn a little bit more about this coherence, this global coherence network, hotspot network is, just go to coherencehotspot.com and check out a little bit. If you want to create your own hotspot, maybe you are already that. You probably are that. If you want to join the network, just browse a little bit on our website, coherencehotspot.com. We say goodbye and then we do a short video. So stay on, but this is what we usually do because we love to hear you, whether it's in your own language, and say goodbye. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you next week.
Adiós, adiós.
Tot kijk, tot de volgende keer.
До свидания.
See you.
Gracias.
Hi,
Everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Gracias.
Adiós, hasta luego.
Nice meeting you.
Buen día.
Volgende keer, dankjewel.
Okay, we're going to mute you all now, and we'll share the screen one more time.
Gracias.
Gracias. Okay, here we are.
Have an awesome day.
Feel the cells respond when you watch.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright, blessed days, dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colours of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Quite simply wonderful.
Bye, everybody. Happy Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Gracias,
gracias.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias.